All right. Good afternoon, Commissioner. We are here to film our September video for the staff. How are you?
I'm great. September is an exciting time all the time for back to school. A lot of our staff are parents, so they are sending kids back to school. You know, we have a lot of folks that launched kids into college over the summer, over the last couple of months, or brought kids back to campus. We even have, a lot of our staff members who are adjuncts, and I know you started your classes, and, a lot of people kind of bringing on the next generation of social workers. So back to school is here. It's also kind of having us always refresh and rethink going into a new season, kind of back to basics and the work that we do. The pandemic overcomplicated a lot of things. And I think what we here, as an exec team think about all the time is how do we just get back to basics, and how do we use natural points in time to refresh everybody's expectations to kind of just get back to what we do best.
Absolutely. And we're seeing an increase in our offices of the physical presence of our senior leaders who are now back in 50% of the time.
Yeah, I think that, now that we've learned a lot about this pandemic and the benefits of hybrid work and, hybrid remote and in person, and we've seen a lot of really great work happening still in our face-to-face capacity. We wanted to make sure that there is more of a presence of our leadership within our area offices and divisions. And so September also recognizes the advent of kind of 50% back in a physical presence, and folks will be able to see that more in terms of coverage.
Yeah. And this month also highlights two critical components of our work. It's National Kinship Care Month and Recovery Month. And as we've talked about so many times, Connecticut is one of the leaders across the country in the manner in which we place youth with kin and the numbers. I think we're at about 44% of our kids in out-of-home care now are with kin.
Yeah, our kinship work is one that has evolved over the last decade. We continue to really focus our attention on making sure that we're assessing relatives regularly. We know that it's not kin at all costs. We know that assessment needs to be in person, and that we need to be taken into consideration all the things that might make a relative at this time the right place for a child. We have our waiver structure in place in the event that somebody has some stuff in their past, whether it's a CPS involvement or a criminal issue or something, anything like that would have prevented them from becoming licensed in the past. We have a pretty robust system in place to be able to assess for that. So, really doubling down on the fact that we have recognized in our data that, even though we have a strong kinship presence here in Connecticut, a lot of kids make a pit stop someplace else first. Right. And so we want their first placement to be their last. And if we can really bump up that aspirational target of getting to the 70% of kids in care, the first stop is really trying to make that first placement the one that sticks and the one that starts with kinship. The other significant month that it is that you mentioned is that overdose awareness month, or sorry, recovery month. That tag teams onto the overdose day that we just participated in. One of our administrators, Deshaunda Garrier, went over and represented the department at the Capitol in Overdose Awareness Day, and the statistics related to overdoses continue to be staggering.
It is. And, it is so humbling. I think, unfortunately, Commissioner, just in the past 2 days, we've received 4 reports of parents who are overdosed and died across Connecticut. We know that over 1,500 individuals last year died of overdoses, and already over 700 this year. So we are very grateful for the supports that we have, that we can provide children and youth, but certainly humbling to say the least.
Yeah. And, every single one of those 1,500 have connections to a family somewhere, whether they're somebody's mother, father, sister, brother, daughter, son, nephew, and all of the connections that we know are important with families that we were just talking about for kinship care. We really have to extend that into thinking about how families are impacted when substance use is involved. We have significant subject matter experts here within the department through our regional resource group, and their body of knowledge as we understand the the impact of substance use on individuals is really incredible. So we have to make sure that we continue to consult and use them where we can. There's also some really great work in the academy that's happening under Rosa Rica right now in looking at special qualitative reviews of some fatalities or near misses in the theme of fentanyl exposure. That's an area of substance exposure that we now have had to learn a little bit more about, and there will be a learning forum from some of those special qualitative reviews that Rose and her team have done to really elevate our understanding of our work in engaging families as it relates to that particular substance, and really understanding the full range of the impact. So yeah, Overdose Day, tagging onto the more positive recovery month that we're in right now, I think is an important thing for us to highlight during this conversation.
It is. And as we kind of wrap up this month's video, on a very, very positive note, we put out our Spotlight on What's Right a couple weeks ago. And the cover story, the front story, highlights our very own Marcia Cherry, who is an LPN at Solnit South, who saved the life of a young man.
Yeah, she was just in the course of her duties, kind of walking around, and a child got her attention that another one of the kids placed at our Solnit was choking, and she sprang into action. And for her, it was, this is just what I do. I care for kids. I have an instinct that's a maternal instinct, but also here at Solnit we're special and we do some great work here. And so for her, it was why are we making a big deal of something that either comes natural? Because that kid actually, after Marcia intervened, considered it to be a life-saving thing that she did, and it was. And so I think it gave us an opportunity to really highlight the tremendous work that happens at our Solnits. They are one of the 24/7 operations that have been in operation throughout all of the pandemic. And like other areas of healthcare, they have been just really, hitting the ground with, the way that they do their work with the kids and families that we serve, particularly with the kids that have the highest needs in terms of psychiatric care. And their foot has not come off the gas pedal throughout this entire pandemic. And we know that nationally there is a nursing crisis in terms of healthcare professionals. And we just wanted to highlight the tremendous work that happens here in our very own facility by calling out the attention to, the recruitment strategies that we are putting in place to really try to get some additional nursing support there. So yeah, shout out to Marcia Cherry and all of the staff there at Solnit South who continue to do this work at a really high caliber.
Yeah. And we're going to include in the memo a link to the NBC 30 story, which highlighted Marcia, and also the great work of Dr. Nicole Taylor and the new facility superintendent, Heidi Puglisi, surrounding supporting the staff at Solnit South, and also the Calling All Nurses campaign. So
yeah,
some really good
stuff.
Just really good press.
Really, really good stuff. And we'll talk again next month. I know we had, backed away from the frequency of our videos, and we got a lot of people saying, hey, we haven't heard from you guys. So we're going to try to, at least get a cadence that gives us an opportunity to pop in for a few minutes, say hello to everyone, reiterate some of the things that are happening across the department, and encourage everyone that if you have things going on, to still contact you and your department about anything that we want to highlight in our Spotlight newsletter or anything else that's happening that we may not readily hear about. So great talking, and we'll see everybody in the coming months.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Take care, everyone.
Bye, Ken.